Okay, so. Oh, man, I will fuck.
Okay, what's up guys? So today we're gonna do the last thing on the list that has to be done before we go to classic Hondas, and that's a timing belt and water pump. And it's kind of a pain in the ass, to be honest, but it's gotta be done. Car's got a million miles on it, so we wanna make sure that we can get there without any issues. And a broken timing belt will definitely get us some issues. So let's go look at this and see exactly what we got to do. I've done this only about 1 million times, and it sucks when there's the comforts that you want in a car, like power steering, AC. If these things aren't there, changing a timing belt is about the easiest thing ever. But when you have these things, it adds all these extra steps that you have to do, and if you're just not used to doing those, or you don't enjoy taking off extra things and dealing with the reservoir leaking all over the place and all these things, then it's pretty simple. But we gotta jack the car up, we gotta remove the power steering pump, possibly the AC, definitely the AC belt. There's a mount that goes directly this way on the car that has to be taken off, unfortunately. And then take the covers off, the head off, get everything at top dead center, and then pull the timing belt and water pump off, replace them, and put it all back together. It is not the most fun thing to do, but also if it breaks, it's not the most fun thing to deal with. So it's better to just do it, be done with it, and then you'll be good for another 100,000 miles or so. Alright, so we got the power steering kind of out of the way. We got this bracket off here because it actually connects to this motor mount that we have to take off in order to get the new timing belt over the top. But we got the head off, which gives us a little bit better look at kind of the history of the engine, and it honestly does not look bad. This engine compression tested really high also, so I think it's pretty healthy. We'll get this cover off, and that might tell us a little bit what's going on with the timing belt, or if it's ever been changed, or if it's dry rotted or any of that. So we'll keep it moving along. got the AC belt off that was down here. You just have to loosen that guy, and there's a 14mm nut on the back side right there that you have to loosen up, and then this thing slides up and down and you can take off the belt. Alternator is back here. This is one of the tightening screws. You can't get the belt off though until you get underneath the car. There's a bottom bolt that you can loosen, and then you'll be able to shift the alternator forward and take off the belt. So now I'm going to take off this wheel and probably some of that inner fender so we can get to the mount, which you can kind of see now. It's right down there. That's got to come off because this belt right here won't be able to come off without it, and we need that belt to come off. So that's something that we're changing today, because the power steering belt was super dry rotted. Look at that. So we want to make sure we get all those changed while we're down here. I took off this inner fender area here, which mine was broke anyway, so it's pretty easy to get off. But this is the main thing. So this torque mount right here is all disintegrated. Normally goes in here, and it's really common for those to be disintegrated like that. Anytime I do a swap or anything, I never put these torque mounts back on, so I have a lot of them, and so I'm kind of considering whether I should go get another one or not, but they don't really do anything. So anyway, that you take that off and you can get this belt off here, and then you're all set to take off the pulley. This bolt up underneath here that I was talking about is right there for the alternator. Loosen that up, and then you'll be able to pull the alternator forward and take off the alternator belt, which I can see already is very dry rotted and cracking. So this was definitely something that needed to be done. I don't know about the timing belt. We'll inspect that when we get it off, but we're getting really close now to being able to remove it. Okay, so we've ran into a snag here. Dude, I hate these crankshaft pulley bolts, but I've tried a number of things to get it off. I have a big ass impact that I literally bought just for crankshaft pulley bolts. No dies to get it off there. I used the tool lodged up against the frame with a huge ass pry bar. Nothing there. Couldn't get it. I put all my weight, literally my whole body weight down on it, and I still couldn't get it. So this isn't the first time I've had problems with these bolts. But we got the persuader here, so we're gonna give it a shot, see what happens, and hopefully we're taking off a timing belt cover soon. I don't actually have very many air tools because electric tools typically always get me where I need to be, and they're just easier. When I first started using air tools, they were just huge, so they were hard to get into tight spots. Holy shit. Well, as you can see, we got it. That thing is a monster, man. I might have to buy me one of those. That was my brother's. He just let me borrow it. That was a lifesaver. Anyway, we're moving on now. So, crank pulley off. Whenever you take it off, make sure you get this pin. Now we just got a few more bolts to take off for the cover, and we should have access to all of that. We got access to all this. So now, this is the tensioner. We're gonna go ahead and take this bolt off here. The water pump is up here. So we got the timing belt off of everything after loosening the tensioner. Now we just got one bolt left right here, and it's for the motor mount. And what that's gonna do is allow us to take the timing belt completely off. Sometimes we have to take this mount completely out. We do have other mounts in the car. So the transmission mount, the rear mount, and the torque mount is still over there. So we should be good. Older cars actually have a front mount there too, and that helps to hold it all in place. So this, even without this mount, shouldn't move a whole lot. It might move a little bit, but if you feel more comfortable, you can always put a jack up underneath the engine, which is what I'm gonna do right now.
What you got there, Matt?
Okay, so we got the belt off, finally, after getting the cruise control off. It's not that bad though. Just maybe a little bit of cracking in between here, but honestly, pretty good. So the new belt, there's no cracking. That's what you want here. Let's go on the side. The new belt has no cracking. That's what you're looking for, is nothing in between there. Anyways, this is a Gates belt.
Why Gates?
Because they're the best. My family works for Gates. This is the
Tensioner.
tensioner.
Hell yeah.
Bam. You got a spring here. Oh, look, they give you this.
Certified tag.
So you can know when the last time you changed it was.
Man, if only that was in every car we've bought.
I know. It might be, they just never put it in there. It's never like, nobody actually sticks it on the thing. The seal.
Look at that.
Look at that. If you don't look at that right there, it's factory Honda. Straight from Honda, straight from the dealership.
Straight from Japan.
But if you take your finger off of that, then it's drive motive. So we got the old water pump out here. Doesn't make any grinding noises. A little bit of a, I don't know, maybe like a rubber seal noise. But this one's good. You gotta take that alternator bolt off. Right over here. The top alternator bolt that goes right here, that has to come off. On B series it doesn't have to come off because you don't have that big bracket there. But anyway, put the seal on here and throw it back on. Should be good to go. Alright, so we got the water pump in, timing belt and cover on. We couldn't find any tick marks on the oil pump to line up with the pulley, crank pulley. So we had to put the cover back on to check, but it was pretty easy to get back in time. Wouldn't you say it was easy to get back in time?
Pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Yeah. Anyway, so now we just got to put all this stuff back together, and we'll be back on the road. Okay, so we got the some of it put back together. I bought some belts from O'Reilly's, and it was like $50 for 2 belts. And then I look online, and it's like $50 for 3 belts. So I think I'm gonna end up taking those back. So I'm just gonna leave this apart for now and get those from Amazon. But I'm going to go ahead and start it up, just make sure it's in time, and hopefully it doesn't blow up. But if it does,
Send help.
if it does, I guess we had a good run. So that's a good sign.
Very good sign.
Sounds normal. Everything looks normal. Okay, I'm gonna shut it off because there's no... Oh, check this out. Check this out. Look how nice and clean this radiator fluid coolant is. We're gonna go ahead and get some different radiator fluid. So what's up? All right, so what we're gonna do today while we wait on belts to come in, because I've already got the timing belt changed and everything here, is I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the coolant that I drained out. I'm gonna drain the rest of it out because it was real nasty. I know you saw in the video there. We can't put any of this stuff back on yet until we get the belts. So we're kind of at a standstill there, but we need to change the transmission fluid as well. And that should be pretty close to the last maintenance item that we have to do, which is great. And we're coming to an end on that. And then I will go ahead and schedule an appointment for some PDR. All right, so for coolant, we're gonna go ahead and use just some O'Reilly's green coolant. If it was a different car, maybe that I was building for any other reason, I would probably use something better. But manual transmission fluid, definitely always try to use the Honda manual transmission fluid. But man, people are so split on this deal. Like, some people say that you should only just use Honda transmission fluid, and some people will use synchro mesh. And then I've heard of some people also using your like 10W30 weight oil and things like that. But I feel like manual transmission fluid from Honda just shifts better over synchro mesh. But synchro mesh has always worked fine for me, but Honda transmission fluid is just what I like to go with. But it's a pain in the ass because you have to go to Honda to get it. You can't just go to O'Reilly's, which sucks. Alright, so I've cleaned the surface of the gasket off, and then in the corners, as you can see, we have one small glob of Honda Bond. Got our head valve cover back on. So when you tighten on down this valve cover, I don't know, it seems to be just single overhead cam stuff, but these bolts here, these guys here, you definitely want to use a ratchet in your hands because those bolts will break off. Ask me how I know that.